Phoneybeetlemaniacxs here, and I'm with you once again. I was going to do a whole video to beach, but I actually think it's correct. I have been talking about this historical shit for too long. And it's an issue I do need to push to one side, because there's more important shit for me to be talking about. So, anybody who was a subscriber of my old channel will know that one of the most watched videos and probably controversial videos I ever did on my last channel was a defense of Islam. And I'm going to do that again. Because any video that causes that much controversy and discussion, I think is a good thing. Even if I get, plus 90 minuses, that's a good thing for me. I'm not about likes, I'm not about being liked, about causing the actual discussion to happen between intelligent people. Now, I'm going to give my reason why I defend Islam. This is why I defend Islam, the Phoneybeetlemaniac version. I wish I could find my old one that I uploaded on Bossman World 3 and link to that blog. Unfortunately, I can't, so it'll have to be this. So, why do I defend Islam? It's very simple. Most of the things about Islam people say aren't true. Or should we put it another way, are very generalistic. Now, most people will say that Islam breeds terrorism or is a very, not violent or very aggressive or oppressive regime. It isn't. Like any idea, it is nuanced. So there are people who hold it, who are oppressive, who are, vindictive idiots. But you look at the masses who are Muslim or Islamic, they aren't like that. They're friendly. They're usually they're oppressed, and there's nobody better at standing up to people who are oppressing them than actual Muslims. So all these people who are giving lip service to, well, Islam is, a terroristic or vindictive ideology, I speak in a lot of idiocy, really. Because we look at actual facts, we looked at actual history, how Muslims actually do integrate into our societies, there isn't really a problem. There is a small minority who do cause problems, but that's the same in any minority, or even majority. Because I want you, as whatever race, gender, religion, non-religion, whatever you are, to think about people on your side who have done the same thing, who've done things that you rather wouldn't be associated with, and how you would feel if somebody kept on saying, well, all people who are white are like the KKK, or like or like the National Front, or like the EDL, or the BNP, or like that, pick your far-right organisations of your choice and say, well, all white people are like that because that's the way that we see white people acting. You see what they do is they go to black people and burn down the buildings and they throw bricks at them and stuff like that. It's not very pleasant now, is it? Because again, they're taking a small demographic of people who are white and using a certain demographics actions to smear a entire group, when again being white is just a thing. The same thing with being homosexual, the same thing with being black, the same thing with being whatever political ideology you hold, the same as being whatever hobbies you have to have. There are people who take their hobbies to the nth degree, or take their their love of animals or their love of culture and make it and push the envelope so people think everybody who likes anime or Final Fantasy is somebody who likes to dress up in the silly costumes, or but if you like comic books like I do, that you're some sort of your mad fanboy who lives in his parents' basement and just likes to jerk off to Janeway porn or whatever it is. There isn't any nuance in there. So with Islam, not most Muslims aren't the ravish terrorists and people who are causing outrage and doing all sorts of horrid shit. That's just a small minority. Now, I'm sure I'm going to be hit over the head with a number of people going, well, you see, Islam, Islamic country, how do you define an Islamic country? You'll usually find that these people enforce a Sharia law. Well, Sharia just means the law. There isn't an interpretation of Sharia. Just one interpretation. There's many interpretations of Sharia law and what it can mean. Sometimes it's about arbitration between couples. Sometimes it's about arbitration between the government and the state, and that can fall to a particular state. Again, what do you mean by Sharia law? Now, when people mean Sharia law, they usually mean the sort that gets women stoned, and that isn't Sharia law. That's the feudal law. And I like it comes from Americans who have a law which, in some states, say that they can electrocute people or have them have lethal injections. Yeah, well, bravo for the moral high ground there, bucko. Just because they've been beheaded instead of having a sweet little needle in their arm doesn't make it any less immoral. And again, I oppose the death penalty in all its forms, and I oppose it in these Islamic countries, but I don't believe Islam for that. I believe it for these feudal states that impose it. And I think that if you get right down to it, the reason the problem for regime isn't Islam, it's the oppressive regimes. And we have to understand that we in the West don't really like repressive regimes. The most repressive regime in the West is probably France, Germany, maybe. Whereas, like in the near Middle East, it's like it's like pick your dictator of your choice. You go, what's happening in Egypt? You had Syria. You had a lot of these countries. They're going through great turmoil because the people want one thing, and people, the Americans, are trying to force something else on them. So I mean, exactly, they're basically stuck between a rock and a hard place. So what exactly is the problem? Is it Islam? No. It's these idiots trying to do something. Second thing is that most Muslims can live and work and have a good time without. But people go, well, you see, their women have to wear the burqa. Well, they don't have to. They choose to wear it. Our women choose to wear boob tubes, wear revealing clothing. That's their choice to wear it, And if women want to cover up a bit more, that's their choice. Again, I don't look down or look up at a woman based upon what she's wearing. I usually look up to her based upon what's in here. And if you're basing your opinion on the woman based upon what she's wearing, I think you have your ideology and your ideas backward, bucko, in my opinion. Next thing is this idea that that women are somehow looked down upon in Egyptian in Islamic society. You got to understand that the women are actually not protected, but are looked up to as things that need protecting. The same way that we protect our home or protect our goods or protect whatever. They think of women now. The thing is in the West that women are to the point now that they can look after themselves, but that is not the case. In that society, they're back to what we were probably about a couple of centuries ago, where the women would to be protected and you had to go on it's a man's job to make the men be by the bar. That's basically the idea that they still have. They didn't have World War I and II that dispelled all that. And that's one of the reasons that we had the sexual revolution back in the 50s and 60s. Now, the problem with Muslims is that there's not really somebody out there representing them on a fair level. Now, there are a couple of really good ones, like, for example, Reza Aslan and people like that. But for Reza Aslan, there's an Amjad Chowdhury, and this is what we have. We have this idea of, well, the Amjad Chowdhuries are the majority, and even though there's no proof of that, and these people are just the aberration, even though that the facts disprove that. There's Muslims, like, for example, Mos Def is a Muslim, David Chappelle is a Muslim, Muhammad Ali is a Muslim. When's the last time they blew up or behaved like a terrorist? They didn't. They never have. The closest that any of them come to that is Muhammad Ali favouring that Islamic Brotherhood. But again, that was an unfortunate event. Sometimes you back societies that are batshit insane because they're feeding you the right amount of guff that you buy here. I would say the most critical thing, though, the biggest critical thing is that maybe our attitudes are the one that are driving us to extreme. When you think about it, how would you feel if every time you went in play, people look at you strangely because you're a Muslim, or when you're announced you're a Muslim, you're treated with somehow being other? You know, you think about it. It's part of Britain that is stupid and insensitive, in that we've got a history of of being a country of a mix. You know, we're Anglo-Saxon, we're Roman, we're Viking, we're French, we're we're a lot of things. And yet, when it comes to suddenly the 1920s or 1930s, certain groups, the Jews, the Irish, the blacks, the Pakistani, and then the Muslims now, there's always a group that we always focus on. They're the problem of it all. The reasons we can't get a job, we can't do this, we can't do that. Instead of put the finger where it should do, which is that yourself. The reason you don't have a job is you. Now that is a lot of problems with people who have against Muslims, is because they're the current group it's okay to hate. You Americans out there shouldn't be doing this again. I mean, didn't you have enough problems the first time with the civil rights movement? Shouldn't you be thinking about, this feels a lot like when we used to treat blacks very badly? And you black Americans out there, who hate Arabs, you're the most hypocritical of the lot. I mean, do you not think this feels a lot familiar, like when my grandparents were beaten up and treated differently because of their race. I mean, please tell me what's the difference between Sam Harris saying that Arabs should be stopped at an airport and held back and because they're all prisoner. What's the difference between that and someone saying all the black people want to screw our women and steal from us and do all that? What's the difference between those two views? There isn't none. All you do is you're making it less against you and more against that, and I think that is appalling. There's a lovely saying which is that those who don't learn from history are destined to repeat it. Well, I think we've been repeating history long enough, don't you?